Now we're ready.
So my name is Inal Kardanov. I'm a developer advocate at Waves. I'm responsible for developer relations, for relations with external developers. I'm a developer myself. I'm a developer myself, and I develop a lot of things, a lot of demos, libraries for Waves and Waves API. So I'm excited to be here.
Thank you.
So first of all, what is Waves? Waves is open blockchain, which is designed for ease of use for developers and users. So what does it mean? First of all, Waves is proof of stake blockchain. It's much faster than proof of works because of Waves NG protocol. I can explain what is Waves NG. And third important thing about Waves, it's really easy to issue a token and to use our decentralized exchange, our DEX. So you can trade your token right after you issue it. So it's a three main selling points for Waves.
Yeah.
It's a proof of stake, it's
Mhm.
fast and scalable, and it's easy for users to issue token, to trade with tokens.
Actually, I have a lot of questions regarding, maybe it's not too much about technology, but the current usage.
We're the second biggest platform right after the Ethereum for ICOs. But now ICOs, they're not so interesting. Yeah, I know, but there are a lot of tokens issued on Waves. Really, a lot of tokens. It's maybe most interesting thing in Waves. It's you issue a token and try to integrate it with your product, with your I don't know website or something like that. I bound count of transactions. For example, last few days it's about 40,000 transactions per day.
That's actually a lot.
We had days, for example, with 234,000 transactions per one day. It's
For, wait, is it like, I don't know if you have the data, you can pull out the data immediately, but what's the percentage between Waves token transfer versus Waves tokens on the Waves platform transfer? Like
I,
50-50 or?
unfortunately I do not have the
Okay. Yeah, that
numbers.
would be kind of an interesting data actually. But
Unfortunately, I don't have.
yeah, it's okay. But that's actually a lot more than I thought. Is it like increasing? So
Yeah, it's increasing. Honestly, it depends on the whole crypto community interests. I mean, for example, in December of 2017, there were a lot of transactions. It was a really tough time for us because everybody, oh, crypto, let's just buy some tokens and some kind of that.
right.
But now it's just lower, but it's increasing. So maybe I can tell one interesting thing, one interesting use case. I just forgot about it. We have also DEX, decentralized exchange, and there are gateways for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for Zcash, Monero, for even USD and the Euro, and you can trade them on DEX, and there are bots, trading bots. So that's another use case of Waves.
Okay. So maybe that's where most transactions are happening, arbitrage and trading.
I'm not sure because we have different types of transactions, and we see how many transactions of exchange how many percentage of transactions are exchange. We can
Right.
see it. It's about, it depends, but it's about 60 or 70%, not 90, not 95.
Okay. Okay. I see. But I think DEX and the ease of use is some of the strengths of Waves, in my opinion, compared to something like Ethereum. And
Uh,
transactions are cheaper. That's another thing.
yeah.
Any other things you would say that Waves are better than any other platform as a token platform?
I think we have really good API for our node. Honestly, on hackathons or from developers, I usually hear some kind of, oh, you have so good API, your API is so interesting and it's really simple to use. Maybe it's one of the most interesting things for developers. You just use like usual API, for example, just Amazon, Google, or some kind of that. Just take your REST API and develop your application. It's really easy to use.
Okay, ease of use for developers as well. What's the node size? Say Ethereum's full node size is like getting bigger and bigger, but what about Waves?
Last time it was about 15 gigabytes.
Okay,
A few weeks ago it was 15 gigabytes. Yeah,
that's not bad
not
at
so
all,
huge.
actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So it's probably still very easy to spin up a node. Still, it's not
Yeah.
too resource intensive. Okay. What are some big or interesting projects on Waves in your opinion?
Um, there are a lot of interesting projects. Honestly, it's hard to think
Yeah,
about
name
one
name
exact
a few.
one or
Name a
maybe few.
few. Yeah.
Honestly, Waves is not only for tokens, I think, because now we have smart contracts also. They are non-Turing complete, but we also have smart contracts. So when we usually think about Waves, we think about tokens, but Waves not only about tokens. There are interesting projects related with smart contracts, for example, not CryptoKitties, yeah, but they're really interesting multi-signature wallets. There are interesting use cases of blockchain in legal area, legal things. So there is another project called Legal Things. Yeah.
Okay, so
Uh,
please tell us a little bit more about it then.
so where is Legal Things? They try to integrate blockchain into legal system in Netherlands, as far as I know. They try to use smart contracts to uh, regulate relationships between government and citizens of the country. So honestly, I can't give you more details about the project, but I think I can share with you links to their
Okay.
website, and you can find there more interesting details. Um, there was an ICO. They issued a coin called ZR coin,
Hmm.
and they want to build new company, and it's in Russian.
So it's a Russian project. Okay.
I can send you the white paper and you can just overview it if you'll not.
Yeah, yeah, you can send us a
Oh,
link later. Yeah.
it's also in Russian. Their white paper also in Russian. Sorry.
Okay, so that's an indication that a lot of stuff about waves is happening inside Russia.
Yeah, the most interesting thing I think that
It's
project
in
that it
Russia.
happened
Okay,
in Russia. Yeah, so maybe
I
it's
see.
not so interesting for your audience also. But for example, the legal things, it's really interesting thing. Sure.
I would love to know more about Waves NG.
So Bitcoin NG, it was a proposal. It was a paper from 2015. In that proposal, you can find that they offer a new way how to create blocks. In terms of waves, we have blocks like in any other blockchain. Blocks they're generated approximately every 1 minute, but we also have micro blocks.
Mm.
They're generated every 5 seconds,
Hmm.
and that micro blocks they're minor, just append micro blocks to main block. So every 5 seconds we have micro block which we append to usual block. So what does it mean? It means that you can see your transaction in a blockchain after 5 seconds, not after 1 minute, after 5 seconds. So it makes the whole system a little bit faster. Not a little bit, a lot of faster. And we call that the last block, which is changing every 5 seconds, we call it liquid blocks.
So it became more incremental sort of. So before it was like the block time is like 1 minute or something, right? I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. In Bitcoin, for example, you have block every 10 minutes.
Right.
In Waves, before it was every 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay.
You have block, but now you have main block every about 1 minute, but you have micro blocks every 5 seconds. Yeah.
Right. So micro blocks, more like micro confirmations, but until you get actual block, like a 1 minute block or something, it's it's not really a actual confirmation, right? But it just gives you a little bit more confidence because it has one or two micro blocks confirmed. So it's
Yeah.
likely it'll get confirmed eventually.
Yeah, it's not confirmation, of course, because even if you have usual block, if you have even few blocks, any blockchain they just can roll back.
Right.
And yeah, so it's just you can see your transaction in
Right.
blockchain just 5 seconds, yes, but if something's go wrong, you just can roll back.
That was supposed to work on Bitcoin, right? But it was not ported.
yeah, they didn't implement Bitcoin NG, and I think that they will not do it yet because they have Lightning, they have a lot of interesting things, and they're not interested in Bitcoin NG now.
Hmm.
Maybe on Bitcoin Cash.
Maybe, but they choose another way. In Bitcoin Cash, they just increase the size of block, and they see the solution of scalability in increasing the block size.
Yeah, but even if they keep increasing the block size, it doesn't really improve the confirmation time, right? And
Yeah, I see.
yeah, Bitcoin
I agree.
Cash people always say like, well, it has to be cheap and fast, but it's right now it's not very fast. Bitcoin Cash is not very fast. You need to wait like 10 minutes. It's the same as
Yeah,
Bitcoin, right?
yeah,
So
correct.
yeah, I think it's an interesting point actually. They have a reason to implement something like Bitcoin NG. Uh, but there were other scalability or confirmation improvement technologies. But why did you guys choose Bitcoin NG?
It was the, I think, most interesting paper in 2015, and we started implementing in the early 2016. And at that time, it was, I think, the only way to scale blockchain. So
Mm,
we choose that way, and we already have proof of stake, and we do not have any other kind of issues like Ethereum now with scalability.
right.
So we just implemented NG. Yeah.
Well, how is it a scalability solution? Because from what I understand now, it's more about confirmation time, right? It's not
Yeah, it's confirmation. It's confirmation time. It's not about the
scalability,
count of. It's not about count of transactions and something like that.
right?
But because of proof of stake, as I already said, for example, we can now you can send about 300 transactions per second, and it will work
R-
because of microblocks. Because with microblocks and with proof of stake, we can optimize our internal protocols, how nodes communicate with each other, and now it's really possible to send 300 payment transactions per second.
Okay, I see. Understand. Hmm. I'm more. I want to know a little bit more about the DEX. So I think the strength of the Waves decentralized exchange, in my opinion, is it allows any token, any random token, to be traded against any other coins, as
Yeah,
opposed to some Ethereum protocols and Ethereum projects, which allow only selected tokens. I
yeah.
think it kind of kills a major utility of decentralized exchange, in my opinion. Like they are limiting which tokens to be traded on the exchange. So, what do you think about how the Waves DEX compare to Ethereum's different DEXs or their approaches?
It depends on what Ethereum DEX you are talking about. For example, 0x or some kind of that.
Yeah, 0x. Yeah. For example.
Honestly, it's hard to compare our DEX with the 0x because 0x is more about protocol. It's more about, I don't know, it's proof of concept, I think, because if you open the app radar.com, and you will see that there are only few hundred transactions about 0x using zero. There are only 350 transactions. Now I see only 350 exchange transactions using 0x.
Hmm.
On our DEX, we had thousands and thousands exchange transactions. So it's really hard to compare with 0x and that kind of decentralized exchanges.
Yeah, but maybe from a technical perspective or structure-wise, how is it better, for example?
Decentralized exchange in our implementation, it has a lot of benefits, but also it has few drawbacks, honestly, because we have a centralized matcher. We have one matcher.
Mhm.
In 0x, they try to match orders on chain. Uh, in our DEX, we match orders off chain. So it gives us a lot of benefits in it's really fast, for example, and it's secure at the same time, but it's one point of failure. So
Right,
centralized matcher, it
right.
can be problem, not in our case, but it can be problem, and I think it's a drawback if you want to reach full decentralization. centralized matcher, it's a problem. Yeah, right.
Right.
But but at the same time, because of centralized matcher, we have really good speed. We have maybe it's not like an usual centralized exchanges, because we have to get orders from users, we have to match them, and we have to send it on chain. We have to create exchange transaction on chain. It's a little bit slower than usual centralized exchanges, but it's much faster than fully decentralized exchange.
Right.
So there are a lot of benefits and drawbacks also. Yeah, so I think now our DEX, it's most interesting thing because it's secure, not like centralized exchanges. It's fast, not so slow as fully decentralized exchanges. So it's some kind of trade-off. Do you want centralized exchange or fully decentralized exchange? And we choose some kind of in the middle of that two ways.
Okay. Are there any people who are working more for like fully decentralized exchange on Waves as well? If you are aware.
It's a little bit hard now to implement without Turing complete smart contracts. It's a little bit hard to implement fully decentralized exchange now. But I think in near future we also will have Turing complete smart contracts.
Okay.
I can't give you any commitments about the
Right.
date, but
Right. Soon.
but we will have Turing complete smart contracts, and maybe after Turing complete smart contracts we will see projects like 0x on our blockchain. And I think it also would be much faster than 0x because of speed of our blockchain.
What's the governance model for Waves development? How the decision is made?
We have activation protocol. Every 2 months we have new release, and for new release we try to implement interesting things. And usually we make decision on our forum or GitHub. Usually it's forum. There is an activation protocol, and every feature should go through this activation protocol. Every node, every miner can vote. They just have to change in their config file some values, and they vote for features.
Okay.
For example, we now, as far as I remember, we have 8 or 9 features, and every time they have to vote for their feature. And only if 80% of blocks of miners support the feature, it goes to production.
Are there any changes or suggestions that are rejected by the community?
There are a lot of changes and
okay.
ideas.
Okay.
For example,
yeah.
For example, we have leasing. You can lease your waves to another node. That node can mine blocks, and you'll get some benefits. Anytime you can get back your waves, but you give your waves to another miner, to another user. There are a lot of users who usually say that leasing is bad. Let's just remove leasing. But the majority of our users, they like leasing, so we just keep it, and they voted for their feature. So
okay,
it's totally okay, I think, for blockchains to have different opinions about different features.
Why is leasing bad?
In my opinion, I'm not agree with their opinion. So I think that leasing is good, and they have few statements that leasing is bad because of you do not think about your waves. You just give it to someone and they can make decision. You do not vote for for that feature. Miner votes, and they just have few ideas about it. But I can't say that I agree with them.
Okay, I'll be a devil's advocate, I guess. But if a lot of people lease out their waves and only a handful of people own a lot of waves, then they have a lot of voting power and, have a decision-making power, right?
Possibly in any blockchain, huge pools, for example, can block almost anything. Yeah, yeah.
But the leasing mechanism might even help it, right?
In proof of work blockchains, you also have pools. It's almost same. Yeah, I think that we can say that all pools in proof of work, in proof of stake, in anywhere, they can lead to some kind of centralization. And yes, it may be a problem if pool becomes too big.
I tried leasing.
Yeah.
and I'm looking at the list of nodes you can lease to. I see like 80 of them. Is that like about all of it?
No, we have more than 250 nodes, and you can lease to any of them.
All right.
But that 8, it's the biggest.
Okay.
And honestly, it's a problem because you see biggest nodes, you'll send your waves to
Yeah.
that nodes, and they'll become bigger. And in few days, you'll just fix it. I think we just talked about it yesterday,
Okay.
and we want to remove it from our website. There is a category in our official forum, and you can find there discussions about different leasing pools.
How big is the biggest pool right now then, currently? Like,
Now, for example, Waves Go, they produce about 28% of blocks.
okay. So when I lease, do I risk my coins or it's not custodial?
You do not risk. You
Right.
just give the node some kind of power to create blocks using your waves
Okay.
and vote for features using your waves. At any time, you just cancel your leasing and you just can get back your waves.
Okay. Okay. You just kind of need to lock up your waves for a little bit
Yeah,
for other nodes to stake for you, basically, right?
yeah,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
But you can withdraw anytime you want, right?
Yeah, right.
Anytime. Okay.
And when I lease, I have to pay a little bit of fee to Waves. Is that for platform? And do I also pay fee to nodes?
No, fees are only for nodes. Only nodes get fee. Leasing, it's just kind of transaction, and
Oh,
you have to pay fee just for transaction because we just put it on the blockchain. That's the only reason why you have to pay.
How much money can I make? Just curious.
Honestly, I didn't have a node and leasing pool, so you can ask on our forum or on our
Yeah.
Discord about it.
Okay.
But
That's actually interesting. So it's what can you do if you are a non-technical user? You can just create a token and just send and receive the token and trade on the DEX. Anything else you can do?
I think the most interesting thing is our new feature called sponsored transactions. For example, you issued a token, and
Mhm.
you can say that I will sponsor all transactions. Use this token. So you just you can create your whole small economic ecosystem with your token, and you do not have to buy waves. You do not have to use waves as fee. You just have to use your own token as fee, and token issuer can sponsor that transactions, for example.
Token issuer pays miners
Fee.
or stakers
Yeah,
fee in waves instead. I see.
yeah.
No, that's clever. That's very good, actually.
And really, we have a lot of requests about taxes for tokens and or
Taxes?
taxes. Yeah, and it's a lot of interesting ideas. There are a lot of interesting ideas, but we think that if we implement Turing complete smart contracts, you just can't do it by yourself.
Right.
And our main focus now it's Turing complete smart contracts.
Okay. So that's in the pipeline already. I see.
Yeah.
Before you go, anything you want to say to the Japanese community or about the Japanese market?
I just want to say that Waves is interesting technology, at least I think, and a lot of developers all over the world think so. And if you have, for example, idea that you want to create, you want to implement that, you want to use blockchain, just give Waves a chance, try Waves. And I think you will see that it's really, really easy to start. It's made for mass adoption, and try to integrate Waves into your product. If you if you are not a developer, if you do not develop anything, just go and try our client. It's also interesting, and I think you can find a lot of interesting things there inside our product. So I hope a lot of we will get more users in Japan. It's really interesting for us, and I hope in near future, as I already said, we will have some kind of hackathons in Japan. That's all.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much.